Elementary students undergo a new type of test.
Nonprofits are experiencing donation trends.
We learn what the Appatorium does for the community.
And the girls' golf program is underway. Hi, I'm Jason Lopez Martinez.
And I'm Courtney Thorstensen, and you're watching Eagle Zone. Students and teachers are getting back on track after snow days 12 and 13 of the school year. The latest storm kept kids out of school Tuesday and Wednesday as a blizzard passed through the area. Again.
A late start Thursday gave people more time to clear snow. Despite the extra missed days, the last day of school remains May 26. That's the Friday before Memorial Day.
Reading is very important for students. When the state lost learning during the pandemic, the Department of Education noted how important it is for students to read well by 3rd grade when they start using the skill to learn content in other classes. Eagle Zone's Zoe Stuckey joins us to explain how the school district is tracking kids' progress with reading. Zoe?
Elementary reading testing takes place throughout the year, but one test has changed. MAP testing is used for language arts and reading comprehension. The test takes place 3 times a year and replaces the Ames web tests.
So essentially there's not a lot of change as far as what we're assessing. We're still assessing reading comprehension, fluency, and decoding. So that will be the same. It's just this test provides additional resources for the teachers, and I think that will be very beneficial.
For example, teachers receive information about how they might group kids if they are working on a specific skill or standard. Students take the test using an iPad and earn a score. Parents can see their child's reading level according to the test.
I think they're beneficial. It's helped us know what books we should get for her when we go to the library or what books we should order for her. So it's helped in that way. Now, I don't think that this iPad is going to tell me more about my kid than her teacher will. So we've, her report cards and conferences and things like that all play into it. But this is just, the test is one more score that we can look at to see if she's on track or not, and I've appreciated it.
His daughter earned a strong score on the test, so he was happy to learn she's on track with reading, but he'll still monitor results when they come.
I have 2 more kids coming, so this one had a good score. I don't know if my next 2 will. It's if it goes the other way, I want to know that right away too, to see where I can step in and help.
Although we use many assessments throughout the district, it is a nice assessment for a few reasons, because there's several schools in South Dakota that use it. So if we do have students that move in and out of the district, it's a really nice tool for parents and teachers to know exactly where their child is learning.
Right now, MAP testing is used to track reading, but the district has also purchased a math option. It may add that in the future.
Thanks, Zoe. Schools are trying different incentives to get kids in books. Students at C.C. Lee Elementary have been reading a lot to make Principal Osborne camp out on the roof. But we'll have that story on a later show.
Central FBLA students have more hardware after a strong showing at States. The latest storm shortened the events, but there was enough time for Aberdeen students to take home the chapter award. Central took 31 students to the competition, with 30 coming home with hardware. Abia George led the group with 7 first-place finishes. Aberdeen swept the public speaking and video production events that students entered. That includes a couple first-place finishes for our very own Courtney Thorstensen. Central students won 31 events and placed in 45 out of 53 events that they entered.
Storms had led to changes on the school calendar this year, but an important date for parents at high school remains the same. Conferences are this Thursday the 13th, and they run from 5 to 9.
We have a lot of nonprofits and other organizations in our community that rely on donations, but what happens when people in the community are paying more for their regular expenses? Eagle Zone's Joey Pierce talked with a major nonprofit to see how they're faring during inflation. Joey?
That's right. I talked with Aaron Schultz, the executive director for United Way, to see how they are holding up. United Way is a nonprofit organization that takes donations and sets aside those funds to help out fellow nonprofits.
It's a way of being able to give to multiple organizations, nonprofit organizations in our community through one giving mechanism, and that's the United Way.
United Way focuses half of its profits on youth. Any profits go towards basic needs, helpful programming, and support for struggling families. However, the pandemic caused big changes for United Way's donations.
Fortunately, the Midwest wasn't as hit quite as hard through the pandemic in terms of economic impact, but what we saw was a number of people really stepping up and saying that we need to make sure we take care of ourselves and each other, and we actually saw donations increase.
And during the pandemic, COVID grants helped these organizations. But with less of those funds around now, this is at a transition time as everyday Americans are paying more for food, utilities, and other bills.
What we're seeing now is due to inflation and due to rising costs across the board, some of those smaller donation areas such as food donations and clothing, we're seeing that those are dropping a bit.
It's up to the community to support nonprofits, and Schultz wants people to know that there are ways of doing so even if you have less money on hand.
If you're interested in volunteering, just find something that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be monetary. What a lot of nonprofits are looking for is people to help just organize things, go out in the community and find what you're interested in and take that opportunity to learn about the good things people are doing in our region.
United Way helps out some organizations that you may know, such as the Y, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Appatorium.
Thanks, Joey. The United Way supports different organizations in our area. You can find more information on its website.
The Yappatorium is one of the organizations supported by the United Way. Eagle's own Xavier Ness tells us what Yappa can do for you regardless of how much money you have. Xavier?
The Yappatorium is supposed to offer fun for teens in Aberdeen. Supervisor Nick Ielts wants that to be accessible for everyone. Yappa is a teen youth center funded by the city, where ages 10 through 17 go to after school and socialize.
And they will have access to our PlayStation consoles, our gaming PCs. They can come to any of our events and parties and participate, and just mainly to have a space where they can get together with their friends and kind of pursue any of their personal interests.
Yappa is free for the community and a great time to spend with your peers.
I think it's important that we provide a space where kids do not have to spend money. So you don't have to pay an entry fee, you don't have to buy anything from our concessions.
Yappa has activities such as esports, pool, board games, and video games. Yappa wants to see what the kids would prefer for their future program.
So I would like to have maybe some full-time staff besides myself. I would like to see our programming enlarged, and that means both more kids participating, but also maybe offering some more unique programs. For example, if kids were into cooking and they wanted to have a cooking class, or even just like a club, it'd be great if I could help provide that.
If you have any questions, go to the Yappa's Facebook.
Thanks, Xavier. The Yappatorium is open to teens from ages 10 to 17. You can check it out downtown or find more information on the Aberdeen website. We'll be right back after this message about testing provided by the Lincoln Elementary Student Council.
Here's Lincoln's Student Council Top 10 Testing Tips. Go to bed early. Don't be like this guy.
Eat a healthy breakfast. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable.
Look, now we're both comfortable.
Have a positive mindset. Keep trying even when it gets hard.
Relax and take deep breaths.
Follow directions. Read each question carefully.
Take your time, because you have plenty of it.
Move on if you don't know the answer.
Review all your questions before answering.
Plan something fun after the test.
You got this!
Welcome back. We love to show you some sports highlights, but the snow keeps getting in the way. We'll keep previewing our teams though. Eagles One's Jaden Ekman joins us with a story about a young and promising girls golf program. Jaden?
Girls golf starts this month, weather permitting. They'll be out on the course more.
As the new season comes, more girls are trying out for golf.
That's always kind of a guessing game once in a while with the younger girls. You don't really know what to expect, as to how much better they've gotten since last year. So we just kind of see where they're at early in the season and see where we can plug them in and see where they can help us, whether it be the JV level or the varsity level. So, it's just a matter of how much time and effort they put in last season, if that carries over into this season. So sometimes I don't even know right away until the season gets going and see where they're at.
Even if it's a guessing game, chances are the team will be strong.
Well, we're looking to kind of build on from where we were at last year. We were 5th in the state last year, and we have a pretty good nucleus coming back, a mixture of upperclassmen and lowerclassmen, underclassmen. So we're just kind of looking to build off last year's state tournament finish.
Last year went really good. We, at all of our meets, we did good, and then ESD we won, but then state, we could have played better, but
It fell apart.
Yeah.
Well, I think in golf, you know, it's all about improvement. So wherever we were at last year, you know, it's periodically getting better throughout the course of the season. And, you know, I think the short game is always an area that you can improve upon. There's just a lot of areas, the course management, the mental part of it. So those are things I think, again, we can kind of build on and progress throughout the season.
I expect that things will go really well and that we'll have a good season.
I'm hoping to win ESD in state, but I think we'll have a good season this year.
The girls' golf team could have some good years coming up too. Last year's team that finished 5th in state only had 1 senior and 1 junior. The rest were underclassmen that will be here for at least a couple more years.
Thanks, Jaden. The girls' golf team has a home meet at the end of April at Lee Park. The state meet is in Yankton at the start of June.
We were in such a rush to get last week's show out before the storm, we didn't get pictures of our science fair winners in the show. So here's the winning team that's heading to the National Science Fair in Texas. It's made up of Sophia Uttermark and Jaiyi Wang. And here's our individual winner, Dustin Hermanson, who's heading to Nationals.
It's time for a weekly recap in Spanish with Brian Mejia Guzman. Hola, Brian. ¿Qué tenés para nosotros en esta miércoles con EagleZone?
Hola Jason, tenemos historias importantes esta semana. El Distrito Escolar de Aberdeen tiene nuevas pruebas de lectura para los estudiantes este año. La prueba de MAP indican a los profesores y a los padres si los estudiantes están por delante o por detrás de la lectura. La lectura es importante porque ayuda a los estudiantes a aprender todas las cosas de las áreas del contenido. Las organizaciones sin ánimo de lucro dependen de las donaciones de las personas. Las organizaciones sin fines de lucro en Aberdeen todavía tienen dinero, pero puede ser difícil para algunas personas donar con una alta inflación. La ciudad tiene un programa para los adolescentes en Aberdeen. YAPA ofrece a los niños entretenimiento gratis y un lugar para pasar el tiempo. Su director quiere ampliar y proporcionar más actividades en la comunidad. Y el equipo de golf de las chicas en Aberdeen esperan tener un año fuerte. El equipo fue 5º en estado el año pasado. Y muchos golfistas de ese equipo han vuelto.
Muchas gracias, Brian. Also, we have the answers to my little quiz last week when I asked you how many elementary schools you can name with U.S. presidents. We first had 1883 with Washington School being built in early Aberdeen. 2 years later, Washington was changed to Lincoln. 1886, an addition was made, and Lincoln was changed back to Washington. 1889, Jefferson School. 1904, McKinley and Garfield were built. 1907 was Adams School's year. Now here are some schools that older viewers might still remember. 1911 with Monroe Elementary, that used to be a junior high, and the old CHS building next to Civic Arena. And finally, 1921 was Roosevelt. That's all, folks.
That's all for this episode of EagleZone. You can always watch our stories whenever you want by scrolling down to the EagleZone section of the school district website. That's aberdeen.k12.sd.us.
We leave you this week with footage from the circus over Easter break. Thank you to the people in the community who recorded cell phone video and sent it to us. With EagleZone, it's your boy, Jason Lopez Martinez.
And I'm Courtney Thorstensen. See you next week.